So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 23, the penultimate episode of this series in Qatar. Now if you didn't watch the last episode in Las Vegas, it was one of our better Grand Prix, it must be said. We did finish P11, we nearly got a point with Enzo Fittipaldi. It was a valiant drive, we had red flags, everything, definitely want to go back and watch. Carlos Sainz in P1, Piastri P2 and Verstappen in P3, meaning that for the drivers' standings, because we know the constructors is already tied up by McLaren and Aston Martin and Ferrari are fighting for P3. Driver standings, Lando Norris is 31 points ahead of his teammate Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen is behind. Max Verstappen needs to outscore Lando Norris by quite a bit to stay in the fight for Abu Dhabi. We can see Fittipaldi in P14 and Hauger in P19. Now this weekend we head to Qatar, the Lusail International Circuit. It is a sprint weekend as well. It's our last sprint weekend of this series. We can see 57 laps around here. The attributes needed on the car, medium and high speed cornering, we're not right good at that. It must be said this might be a tough Grand Prix for us, but tyre preservation is very key around here, and it must be said we've seen a few punctures in the past. There's not too much else to bring you up to date on. We are still researching for next season, on the assumption that we are going to be here next season, but the front wing and suspension research is ongoing. But with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, not too much else to mention, so we're going to get through practice and we'll get through sprint qualifying as well and see how the sprint shapes up. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, sprint qualifying results. Oscar Piastri is on pole for the sprint from Lando Norris. Verstappen and Sainz only in P3 and 4. Must be said, our guys had a disappointing session at I think that's P20 and P22 for our guys. But we are going to go for the soft compound tyres because we want to save the mediums for the race tomorrow. Medium, hard, medium's probably the way we'll go tomorrow. So we will conserve our soft compound tyres as much as we physically can. Try and get that right and see where we end up. So P20, P22, let's get to 5 red lights.
We're ready for the sprint here in Qatar. And it's lights out. Away we go.
And away we go. We don't want to kill these tyres at all, so we're not even going to push at the start. It's all about tyre wear around Qatar as Piastri is leading the way from Carlos Sainz. Verstappen, we've got a lot of cars on the soft compounder tyres towards the front and the mediums in the midfield. Our two guys at the back are the outliers. The sun sets here at the beautiful Lusail International Circuit, and Fittipaldi already being pushed wide and getting very annoyed on the radio. Our guys are already making moves, and it must be said the soft compound tyres tomorrow, maybe we could go soft, medium, medium, soft, medium tomorrow, but Fittipaldi now up to P18. He feels good. He's getting that James Brown on in that Lotus car. As we just cut back to the live action, we can see both cars are actually struggling to keep the tyres warm at this moment in time. Fittipaldi's just got past Veste, and now he's chasing after Logan Sargent. It must be said, look at the guys at the front, 69% tyre wear on lap 7. Fittipaldi and Alga are going to have the better tyres towards the end of this sprint. Fittipaldi has got Logan Sargent. As you can see, the tyres are starting to come to us. Fittipaldi passed the Toyota car, the Haas, and pushes in wide as well for a bit of good measure there. Fittipaldi up to P16 now, 1.8 behind Ricciardo. This is boding well for tomorrow's Grand Prix. We seem to have a bit of decent race pace, and Hauger is following him through and just about getting in the DRS. Do you know, sometimes the best laid plans and all that, and sometimes you just can't imagine that things like this are going to happen. And Fittipaldi now, that's got to have knackered his tyres up. Fittipaldi will drop towards the back. His tyres, to be fair, are not that bad, but 49% now. So Fittipaldi, this is all a case of just getting him now to just calm down on everything. We're not going to score any points. I don't want him making any more errors. So Hauger P16, could he possibly catch Daniel Ricciardo? Meanwhile, at the front, Piastri's leading from Norris by 4.8 seconds, the young Australian. Verstappen a further 4 seconds back. Everybody managing tyres. Look at the distances, the intervals between these cars. There's been not much overtaking action. Not the most exciting sprint. Final lap then, and it is done. Piastri and Norris are P1 and P2, but Piastri gets that extra point in the sprint. Verstappen P3, Sainz will come across P4, Leclerc P5, P16 and P20 for the two Lotuses respectively. Not the most exciting sprint. Let's get to the classifieds. And there we have it then at sprint results. Piastri in P1, Norris P2, Verstappen and Sainz P3 and 4, Leclerc P5, Gasly P6, then came Russell and Lance Stroll rounding off the points. P16 and P20, but we did show some decent pace. Let's get to qualifying. Green through the first sector, green through the second on the final flying lap in Q1. And Dennis Hauger, it's got to be said, doesn't look like he's going to pull probably a second on his first lap. That might be a little bit ambitious as Hauger crosses the line. He does go P20 ahead of Porsche Fittipaldi, as we can see riding on the onboard. We'll speed it up so he looks a little bit faster, but where is Fittipaldi going to end up underneath the Qatar Airways sign? Is he going to go ahead of Théo Porsche? He is going to go P14. What a lap from Enzo Fittipaldi. That is incredible from Fittipaldi. He's in to Q2. Fittipaldi green through the first and second sectors again. I mean, this would be some lap if he could get into Q3. I doubt he will, but Fittipaldi comes across the line. It's a 124.8. It's going to put him in P15 unless Zhou Guanyu manages to improve, which he doesn't. So P15 for Fittipaldi, that's not too bad at all. And the Q3 results show that Verstappen on pole position, Piastri in P2, Norris P3 and Sainz in P4. We could move forward tomorrow. Let's get to the strategy. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, two very different strategies for tomorrow. Fittipaldi is going to be on the softs to start, then another set of softs, then the mediums at the end, whereas Hauger starts on the mediums, then goes to the softs, then another set of softs. We took some fuel out, as we saw yesterday, that we can save fuel around here quite naturally. We are going to push a little bit on the tyres at the start, but then we'll settle in to the tyre saving because that's what's going to be massively important. So P15, P17, let's get to 5 red lights.
Welcome back, everyone. The final preparations are now being made as we head into the race. And there's no doubting that Lance Stroll is prepared to put in the hard work.
Just sitting inside the points places, they need to defend well and look to push hard where possible.
And it'll be exciting to see just what will happen here today. We're all set here in Lusail. And it's lights out. And away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we're keeping an eye on the battle at the front because Piastri and Verstappen going at it. Remember, these are two drivers who are in the championship fight, and Lando Norris there as well, but Verstappen keeps it well around the outside. He just go a little bit wide, but then forces Piastri and gets back into P1, whereas Fittipaldi already making moves on Esteban Ocon. He's dispatched him beautifully. Sorry, Checo Perez, and now on the back of Esteban Ocon. Good work from Fittipaldi to start, and good work from Hauger staying in P15. He joined us back on lap 11. There has not been too much to tell you about at the moment. Fittipaldi's in P14 chasing after Esteban Ocon. A lot of guys at the front not looking after the tyres quite as well as the two Lotuses at the minute, but he's on the back of the Williams. Piastri's in P1, Verstappen in P2. Just can't keep in that DRS. Norris in P3 and Sainz in P4. But at the moment, Fittipaldi, points is looking unlikely, but he's hanging onto the back of Ocon very well. Valtteri Bottas has got fresh hard compound tyres on, and he's passed Enzo Fittipaldi. He's already pit. Nothing Fittipaldi could do, and what he has done, he's brought Hülkenberg back into the fight. There's not too much action at this moment in time as we cut back to the live action. We've just got the first cars pitting, but Fittipaldi 46% tyres, 2.4 seconds away from Bottas now, but Hülkenberg on the back of him. Fittipaldi was told to go for it on the in-lap. It must be said, Hauger's making these medium tyres last beautifully at the minute, but into the pit comes Enzo Fittipaldi from P13. Can we get a decent stop from the young Brazilian driver here? Norris is leading the Grand Prix from Gasly. Verstappen has already pit onto the soft compounded tyres. A 2.7 second stop isn't bad. We were fighting Nico Hülkenberg, who is coming down the start-finish straight. As he managed to get the undercut on us here, we're watching Fittipaldi. We can see Hülkenberg, and Hülkenberg has got the undercut. Fair play to him. They've made it work, but we are going for the tyre offset at the end as the race leader, Lando Norris, pits. We've got a crash on circuit, and unfortunately, it's not brought out a safety car, and it is Liam Lawson in the Ferrari. I don't quite know which Aston Martin that is. We'll have a little look, but my word, that Aston Martin's not going to be happy with that. Whichever Aston Martin it is, let's have a little look. It looks to me as though, is it Gasly? It possibly was. Fittipaldi now trying to get his tyres up to temperature once again, but we've got Hauger into the pits with Logan Sargent very much up his gearbox behind him in the pit lane. Let's see if we get a decent stop for Hauger. I'm always a little bit nervous when he goes to the overhead camera, but fair play to him. 2.6 seconds. We will take that all day long from Dennis Hauger. Very happy with that indeed. Fittipaldi P19 now. He's 5 seconds behind Esteban Ocon. Remember, he was fighting at one point during this race. This could be a tough Grand Prix for us. And sometimes it just goes from bad to worse. His tyres are up to temperature, so I'm not quite sure why he's done this. But Fittipaldi spinning out. He did it in the sprint. He's done it in the feature. Little update on lap 25. Checo Perez with a very poorly engine in the back of the Alpine has retired from the Grand Prix. Verstappen is still leading from Norris. Norris 2.9 seconds behind. He's lapping a tenth quicker at the moment. Piastri in P3, Sainz P4. Then comes Leclerc, Stroll, Russell, Gasly, Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda, who was taking everyone out in Las Vegas. He's in the points at the moment. Lap 36. We're not getting many highlights in this Grand Prix. Yuki Tsunoda locking up now. Let's have a little look at this. As we can see, just locks up, carries straight on. Tsunoda doesn't seem to have the control of that car in recent races. You can see Fittipaldi a 131.1 without DRS is where he's lapping at the minute. A 131.2. It's very consistent pace between both cars. We're trying to get the tyres back up to temperature for Fittipaldi. Well, I think Hauger's going to come strong towards the end, but Fittipaldi is just waiting for the medium tyres now. Norris still leads from Verstappen. Verstappen's tyres dying. He'll be in soon. Verstappen has pit on lap 37. He's on the medium compounder tyres to try and get the undercut on Lando Norris. How's this going to play out for him? We will see. Vesti's just had a pit stop issue. Let's hope that we don't do the same, because into the pits comes Enzo Fittipaldi. Hauger is just hanging on to the rest of these tyres at the minute, and it must be said that undercut from Max Verstappen worked, but Lando Norris now on the hard compound tyre going to the end. He's going to be able to push on. We'll just get this pit stop sorted out. We'll keep an eye on this little battle in a moment. Do we get a decent pit stop for Fittipaldi? It is 2.5 seconds. We like that a lot. But yeah, Norris out of the DRS. Verstappen's on the better tyres, but Norris will have the tyre offset at the end. Meanwhile, Fittipaldi comes out. He's going to come out in P18, I would suggest. Hauger pitting shortly. Decent pit stop for Hauger, 2.7 seconds. He's onto the soft compound tyres. He can try and get those up to temperature now, and he's not come out that far behind his teammate, so Hauger might be battling Fittipaldi in a few moments' time. Lawson's into the pits for Ferrari. Hard for Liam Lawson. He's currently in P10. I think he's going to come out in front. Look at the distances, by the way, the intervals. 8 seconds, 2 seconds, 25 seconds from Norris to Sainz. Incredible. It's so spaced out here around Qatar. This is the first highlight we've had in about 15 laps, and it's Dennis Hauger on the soft compound tyres getting up the inside of Logan Sargent. This Grand Prix has not been one for the memories, it must be said. We are going to have a quick look at the front, because Lando Norris has managed to get past Max Verstappen. The tyre offset has worked in his favour, and this could clinch Lando Norris the driver's title today. So Lando Norris looking like he's going to become the driver's world champion. Verstappen doing everything he can, but he looks as though he's run out of ideas. Piastri's in P3, Fittipaldi and Hauger 18th and 19th respectively. He joined us back on the final lap. Lando Norris is 3 seconds clear of Oscar Piastri, but it's not going to be enough for Oscar Piastri, because as he comes round the final corner, Lando Norris now has an unassailable lead at the top of the Drivers' World Championship, and Lando Norris is your world champion. Is this going to be happening in real life next year? Let me know down in the comments, but Lando Norris is your world champion. Piastri in P2, Verstappen comes home P3. It's been a disappointing Grand Prix, a very, very poor Grand Prix in terms of overtaking, but ladies and gentlemen, Lando Norris wins the Drivers' World title.
Lando Norris is the driver who takes this year's title. Fabulous drive here today. It's no surprise to see this man land on the podium.
The wins just keep coming and coming. We'll be running out of superlatives at this rate, Crofty.
Running out of superlatives, but what a fantastic thing to see. A British world champion once again. Lando Norris will enjoy the champagne tonight. There will be no duel in the desert in Abu Dhabi. But there we go. Lando Norris winning from Piastri. Verstappen in P3, Sainz P4. Then came Leclerc, Stroll, Russell, Gasly, Bottas. Liam Lawson got the final point. Everybody from P9 down was a lap down. Lotus boys, P18 and P19 on the day. It means that Lando Norris has got the Drivers' World title. Verstappen still could finish P2, but it's looking very, very unlikely. Could Leclerc possibly pick Verstappen? Let me know down in the comments. But Fittipaldi P14 still, Hauger P19, and in the constructors, McLaren are your champions, Red Bull P2, and it will come down to Ferrari versus Aston Martin in Abu Dhabi, and there's still a lot to play for P6 in the drivers' title, in the constructors' world title. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed that. We've got one more Grand Prix to go in Abu Dhabi. I hope you can join us for that. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you then. Ta-ra.